Hello guys, and welcome back to another one of my videos. Now, you may or may not be aware that over the past week there's been and gone quite a large electronics convention. For those of you who have been following, of course I'm talking about the Consumer Electronics Show, aka CES 2016. As every year, there's a ton of new announcements, and in this video I'll be going through some of the photography and videography equipment which caught my attention. I'm not going to be comprehensively going through all of the specifications of each product that I mention, just those particular details which really made it stand out to me. For the full list of specifications and technical details of all of the products I'll be mentioning, be sure to check out the links in the video description below. Kicking us off, Samsung have announced a smart fridge. Now, you may be asking yourself what right a fridge has been included in this list. Well, it has some internal inbuilt cameras, so it's found itself a loophole into this list. And yes, you did hear correctly, cameras for food selfies. Samsung have explained the need for the internal cameras being a better way to keep an eye when you're out on the go on what food items may be expiring soon in your fridge or what you're running low on. Just open your fridge before you leave to go food shopping. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this yet. Moving on to more serious camera gear, Asus have announced the Zenfone Zoom, which, as the title suggests, has an inbuilt camera with the ability to zoom. What's so special about that, you might ask? Well, the zoom in the name of this phone refers to its ability to optically zoom up to 3 times. The other specs of the phone's camera include a 13 megapixel Panasonic Smart FSI sensor with a 10 element Hoya lens, with an aperture of f2.7 at its widest focal length and f4.8 at the 3 times telephoto end. The focal length is also pretty decent at 28mm at its widest and 84mm at the telephoto end. Optical image stabilization comes as standard. Lastly, it incorporates a dual LED flash system for better white balance and laser autofocus. So I didn't intend for this video to include so much Nikon gear, however you really can't ignore the fact that they've announced some really impressive devices this year at CES. The Nikon and Canon war will live for eternity, and I personally shoot using Canon gear. However, this year at CES, Nikon made a much bigger impact than its mighty counterpart. They've released not one but 2 top of the tier DSLRs, the D5 being at the top of their full frame lineup and the D500 being at the top of their crop sensor lineup. The D5 boasts impressive specs with a 21 megapixel sensor, a 3.2 inch touchscreen display, 153 point autofocus system of which 99 are cross type, the ability to change out the memory card chamber to have either 2 SD cards, 2 XQD cards or a mix of one of each. It also has the ability to shoot at 12 frames per second at full resolution, and saving the best for last, it has a native ISO range of between 100 and 102,400. And as if that wasn't enough already, it's expandable to between 50 and, get this, 3.28 million. Wow. The caveat with the D5, however, is its ability to shoot 4K video. Doesn't really sound like much of a caveat, does it? Well, although it can shoot 4K UHD video, it can only for some reason achieve this at 3 minutes a time. Though if you are purchasing this camera, it's probably more to do with its photography capabilities rather than its ability to shoot really long 4K footage. And for those of you who are looking to shoot longer scenes, maybe an interview or something which involves anything longer than 3 minutes, you may want to look elsewhere. Elsewhere potentially being the other DSLR that Nikon have announced. And there's my lame attempt for a segue. It will do. So the DX crop frame D500, as mentioned earlier, sits at the top of the crop frame tier. It has a 21 megapixel sensor with the same autofocusing system as the D5. It also shoots full resolution photos at 10 frames per second, achieving a buffer size of 200 raw images. The ISO range is just as impressive with this one. Natively, it supports between 100 and 51,200 ISO, expandable to between 50 and 1.64 million. They did it again. Unlike the D5, however, the memory card chamber can't be changed. It comes default with 1 SD card slot and 1 XQD card slot. Again, like the D5, however, this time a lot more fortunately, it does shoot 4K UHD video, however it's not limited to 3 minutes. It can shoot at the full 29 minutes and 59 seconds. Lastly, from Nikon is their first ever action camera. It's a 4K action camera with the ability to shoot 360-degree footage thanks to 2 wide-angle lenses. This footage, released on Nikon's YouTube channel, however nauseating it may be, definitely shows some potential for the future. I challenge anyone to watch this using a VR headset without feeling just a little queasy. Moving on, Kodak have announced a product based on a recorded media which hasn't seen any new devices since the 1980s. I'm talking about the Kodak Super 8, which uses the Super 8 cartridges to record its footage onto. The notable differences with this generation's version is having the inclusion of a HDMI port, the fact that the audio is recorded onto an SD card, and its inclusion of a 3.5-inch viewfinding display. It's definitely an interesting throwback to the 1970s and 80s, of which I don't really have any experience with. However, it managed to catch the eyes of many at CES this year, with them receiving Best of Show awards from the likes of Techno Buffalo, Mashable and Videomaker. Now there's of course been tons more of announcements this year, however if I went through them all with you today, this video will end up going into CES 2017. So to quickly run through a few more products, Panasonic announced a point and shoot with an impressive zoom range, Canon announced a super zoom bridge camera, Olympus announced the M Zuiko Pro 300mm f4 zoom lens, Parrot showed off another drone, as did a few others. Zeiss announced 3 iPhone lenses. YouTube announced their support for HDR video. Manufacturers also announced a plethora of devices to watch their HDR content on. MSI released a prototype of their version of Apple's rubbish bin PC, which can house up to an Intel i7 6700K processor and dual Nvidia GTX 980 GPUs. Mental video editing powerhouse. And last but not least... oh, that's it. So there we have it for CES 2016. Thanks for checking out this video, and remember to check the links in the description below for the specifications for all of the items that I've mentioned today. Don't forget on the way out to abuse that like button. Take it easy guys, and I'll see you on the next one.